I do have a number of Sunwayfoto products, quite a few. I think they're very high quality. This is the 3650 tripod. This is kind of like my go-to shooting tripod, especially competition use or anything that's real heavy, like some of my extra heavy rifles. I can shoot them off this, and I have. I'm 6'5", and that means sometimes I need a little extra height, depending on what angulature I'm shooting on, hillside, unlevel ground. So this is the 3650. It has an IB65 head on it. It does also have a very similar latch style here, an SDC50, and then an SM80. This one's the 86, SM86. That one's pretty tall. As you can see, it's actually just a little too tall for me on a level ground. And here is here's the 3240 CSL. So with 3 portions, well, technically it's got four portions, but 3 twisters on it, rather. You can see it's actually still fairly tall and definitely capable. A majority of the people out there, this is tall enough. Shooting, filming. There we go. And this is also actually a 3240, but this is just the CS model. This is the CSL that I have here. So this one has more of the latch style on the legs, and this one's the twister. And now that I've got to play with them over the years and just get more experience with them, I definitely prefer the twisters in almost all situations, just personally. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't get snow and ice in here. In the wintertime, it's really quite a thing when you start getting snow and ice inside of latches. They can seize up on you a little bit. These are just less likely to seize up, as well as the fact that rain, you're not getting water in there, the ice melts as well. And then dust. Dust generally keeps out of these, but they're carbon fiber, they're really, really tough. All of these are actually quite strong. I think their strength to weight ratio is incredible. It's one of the reasons I like Sunwayfoto, is they do very, very well with securing a very steady head and being able to throw on precision rifles, which is probably the majority of my concern, is throwing up a $5,000, $6,000 setup, sometimes more. That is really, really concerning on something that you're not sure if it could take the weight. But these, I do trust them. I've never had a tippy issue, but I also balance them pretty well. As you can see here, height-wise, this one's not fully extended, but this one is. That's about how high it gets. If I was to throw an SM86 in here for a shooting situation, maybe some sort of hunting, let's go ahead and open that up. This is what it would look like. And actually that's tall enough for me, because I never stand exactly squared up to a tripod when I'm hunting. I'm always gonna hunker down a little bit like this. And with my optic height and all that, this would just be perfect right here. Actually, I really like that because it's nice and lightweight, has the twisters on there. And with this, I do have the SM86 with a lifter in there that it comes with. This is perfect height for me and has nice access. I can still get to everything I need to inside of here. I can loosen that up and move stuff around. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the bag and show you what are some of the components inside that it's gonna come with. So number one, you're gonna get a base plate. And this one in particular is their SP60 base plate. That's a nice piece right there for attaching camera equipment or whatever it is that you need to mount up, maybe a spotting scope. It's gonna come with spike feet. I really, really like the spike feet that Sunwayfoto produced. Just the right amount of stabbiness, pokiness, as well as grip provided by them. Then you're gonna have your cleaning cloth, as well as some hardware and some extra pieces in there. It looks like a 1/4 inch, and then also a 3/8 piece on top of that. And you have your manual. The bag itself is actually pretty nice. The zippers really work well. It does have this D-ring right here on the end with a clip. So you can clip it onto things like a backpack, which is usually what I end up clipping it onto. It does have a strap which is adjustable for carry of different ways. Maybe a little bigger person than even I could carry this. Large size, over the neck kind of carry. Now, getting inside to the main product. It is packaged really well. It's padded really well inside this case. So I'm going to throw that aside now that we're done with that. And here is the tripod. Again, this is the Sunwayfoto T3240 CSL. You can see this comes with probably my favorite head from Sunwayfoto so far. This is the SDC50. And so this is your latch. It does take NATO or Picatinny as well as Arca. And so that's very, very cool. It does also come off. You could remove it if you needed to put something else on. This is your tensioning knob here. So depending on if you need it a little tighter or looser, I like to get it to the point where it'll just tighten up a little bit. It'll just grab, and then I like to throw the latch on that and compress it. I don't need to go over the top with this with anything, including my heavy rifles. I usually focus on balancing things out nicely so that I'm not over torquing or over pressuring this, even though this is technically what I would consider kind of a high capability head. As far as the loadout goes, it can hold some weight, and it does pretty nicely with that. The benefits of this type of head are obviously when I loosen up the latch here, you can see a little better that this whole head becomes mobile, and the latch itself is a big guy like that, and this one's actually set fairly tough. I like that. I want it to be fairly tough. I don't want it to be too loose to the point where something could slip. This one actually has some good bite to it. Easy to grab onto, easy to function when I'm in a hunting situation. I need to just loosen that up quickly and move something around, or if I'm even just doing videography and film. This has been very easy to work with, and I like the style quite a bit. Pretty low profile, sits low overall. As you can see, you do have a couple threaded portions here. There's a 3/8 right there, which a lot of times I throw in a converter down to a 1/4 inch so I can throw in accessories, but there's actually 2 slots for those accessories. And of course, these are the leg increment adjustments. So this right here is on a spring system, but you can lock it out. And I like that feature a lot. I can go all the way up, and then it'll grab each step on the way down. Just like that. Be relatively quick to break down. They're really easy to transport in general, but I just loosen them up, a crank, get all of those undone, and you can kind of take all 3 of them at the same time and push them in like that, and then tighten them up. Real easy, real quick to work with. I have the rubber feet on, at least for this review portion. Now that we're getting closer to winter, I probably will. I'll probably switch these over to the spikes because I just really enjoy the spikes. I think they do well. In the summertime, these are fine on concrete and that kind of thing, but in the wintertime, there's a layer of ice on everything. As you can see here, relatively compact, definitely backpackable. This would not be hard or difficult for me to store in a side pouch, even internally on some of my bigger frame backpacks. The weight is not bad at all, especially for what you're getting, something that is, technically, this is a 3240, so it's not real skinny. The leg dimensions and the carbon fiber are actually still pretty high for leg strength, and the dispersion of that weight, I never noticed flex in these, even with a pretty heavy rifle, like a 26, 27 pound rifle. I've never had an issue with these splaying weird or laying out kind of funny with the pressure. And I do sometimes experiment with going to that next leg out. A lot of times when I'm sitting, I actually like to set them up this way. Just like that. It's one of my favorite designs actually, is just to set them like this. From my height, usually 1 notch out, laid out on the ground like this. It's usually tall enough for me to hunker down and shoot off of it. Contrary to what your gun buddies might have told you, 300 Blackout does still have some energy at 300 yards, even with subsonics. I'm shooting Federal 220 grain subsonics. That's 13 mils at 300 yards, which I'm right about 300 yards right now. I'm using my Sunwayfoto. This is the T3240 CSL, which is really cool to be able to just lock right into the Picatinny or Arca on my other guns, which I've been using today. So I'm at 300 yards, and it's going to make a good impact. It's going to make a solid impact. You're going to be able to hear it. I'm almost 100% sure. Give me a second to get comfortable behind the gun. And we're good to go. Man, that's a really good optic, and I really like this combination. It's so good to be able to shoot off a tripod like this, and it's a low weight tripod, but all I gotta do is throw in a couple of things here, my little shooting bag, a couple other accessories, and it balances this whole thing out. So even though it's got a big optic on it, it's actually balanced in a way where I don't have to be worried about it just tipping over. It actually can hold this, but balance is the key. Normally, if I had a piece of Arca, I'd probably be right about there. But even as it is, I can get up here and take a lot of the rear weight there, and it balances just fine. So for a low weight tripod, it does really good with this setup. And that AccuFire Atro 20, if you didn't watch that review, go watch that. It's a really, really good optic, and I'm so happy with it. In fact, I'm going to just use holdovers. Do that again. Very easy to find 13 mils here. It's a great reticle. Very good optic. That helps. Make sure that my microphone's off so you can hear it better from that microphone. It's got a nice ring. Are you ready to try? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go for it. Did you get it? I do appreciate the size of this bag. One thing that is usually lacking in most bags for tripods in general is they're just pretty tight. And that's nice to keep the form factor down, but with this bag being just a little bit longer, I can actually fit in my monocular, and I could fit in a small pair of binoculars, and I can fit my Sunwayfoto 3240 CSL with the Sunwayfoto CC09-09. I can fit that on there all inside the bag, and so I don't really need anything else other than what I have right here. This works for me, and it's you know, pretty much the most that I need for NRL 22 is an 8-power monocular, and maybe at the further stages, the for fun extra credit stages, maybe I would use those sometimes, like a heavier binocular, something with more mag. Come on, Caleb. Come on. Come on. But this is pretty much it, and so that's a nice low profile setup for me. Overall, I just don't need that much with me other than my rifle, my ammo, a drink, a rear bag, and I guess this right here, and that's enough for most stages for me. And I pretty much, if I'm going to go spotting for someone else, I don't use heavy mag a lot of times. A lot of times I'll use lighter magnification, and just a simple tripod setup like this, which is pretty much low of a footprint as I'm ever going to be if you find me out in the woods somewhere, is just this right here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set it up again. So those 3, 3, and the 3 pretty fast. Hi, buddy. Hi. Are you having fun out here? He loves to be here. Let's see. I get them all. One more. Hi. What are you doing? Do you want to be in the video for a second? Oh. Hi, bud. This is my boy. This is Caleb. Hi. Are you having fun? You want to go run around? Okay, you go find some snakes. All right, he's about to turn 2. And it's my daughter Aria. She just turned 6 this year. They like to come out with me when I'm recording, help me make videos. And sometimes they're even useful. So Caleb, this would not be a time where I want you to grab that tripod. No, 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 no. The one thing I'm missing that I almost always have with me is a Sunwayfoto rock bag down here. And in fact, Sunwayfoto has some new rock bags. I would like one because I think it's a really smart design. Like that. And pretty level right there. So yeah, that's a very useful tool. I really like that monocular holder and the fact that it QDs in here so easily. Just like that. Not difficult at all. And I can get different angles. Now right now where I'm at, I need all the height I can get. And so with the unlevelness of the ground, this works pretty good for me. Really like this tripod, really like this mount as well with the spotter. This is a good setup for pretty much everything that I do, especially hunting. Yeah, not bad for Minnesota hunting where shots are rarely beyond a couple hundred yards. And we're not hunting elk and we're not counting tines most of the time. I don't want this review to go on too long, so I'm going to probably cut it right about here. I really like Sunwayfoto as a company. I like the things that they're providing. I think they punch above their price point on pretty much everything they do, and they have a lot of ingenuity and a lot of good thought process in their designs for everything, whether it's scope rings, tripods, accessories like what you're seeing here on top of that 3240 CSL. And I can highly recommend that you check them out. Now, one of the best places to check them out, I've seen a lot of stuff on B&H Photo. It's a pretty good reserve of products there, but also Amazon. If you're just an Amazon kind of shopper and you think that's the most convenient way to get them and get fast shipping, I would send you over there because there's a whole host of other products just like this. If this isn't right for you, maybe watch one of these videos and see if that's more up your alley. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.